lot of things happening with Watson. You're expanding its physical presence, learning capabilities, adoption. What are you most excited about? What's most significant to you?
For me, Emily, it's about we're going to transform industries, whether it's healthcare or education. We're going to help make these industries more effective at lower cost, and we're going to transform healthcare. We're going to save lives with Watson.
So, from your perspective, what's the most breakthrough innovation of Watson? Give me a specific example where Watson made something possible that would not have been possible otherwise.
So you probably remember that Watson was a relatively simple question and answering system in Jeopardy just a few years ago. Fast forward to today, I demonstrated earlier this week at TechCrunch that Watson can now reason over data. So we're applying Watson in areas like healthcare to help doctors in oncology, in cancer, make better decisions. One example, working with Mayo Clinic, we had Watson work with them to understand chemotherapy and clinical trials. So now they can use Watson in this research project to match an individual patient with the best clinical trial. What would take many, many doctors days to do, Watson can now do in seconds.
So has Watson saved lives?
Watson is in the process of helping doctors, still in research, but very close to commercialization.
Okay, so tell me about your new San Francisco headquarters. Give me a virtual tour and what will happen there.
Well, first of all, we're thrilled to be here in San Francisco now. As you know, Watson started on the East Coast, and we recently opened new headquarters for Watson Health in Boston. But we're thrilled to be out here, and we're thrilled to be out here because Watson is no longer just one machine. It's a platform in the cloud, and we wanted to come where the developers were so that we had an ecosystem on top of our platform. Developers will be working on the Watson platform, and the venture capital community and startups out here will be all over Watson as they now have local access to it.
So you talk about Watson incorporated into apps about vision and discovery. You know, what can Watson do now that it couldn't do before?
So Watson can now see, if you will. It could before, as you know, read any amount of literature. It's ingested Wikipedia. It's ingested all the world's medical records. But Watson now has the ability to look at images and understand the images. So for instance, in healthcare, we are in the process of acquiring Merge Healthcare, one of the top holders of medical images. Watson will learn from those images and again help doctors such as radiologists give a better diagnosis more quickly and more precisely over those images. So given Watson's sight, next we will give Watson the ability to have other senses in the world of Internet of Things.
So aside from doctors, who's using Watson technology? Is it startups? Is it big tech companies?
All of the above. So startups like Wayblazer in the area of travel. Terry Jones, the founder of the company, has developed applications which are now being used in many cities around the United States to have basically a virtual travel agent for the location that you're seeking to go to, all the way up to very large companies that are transforming their business with cognitive computing through Watson.
Like what?
So large companies that are discovering new drugs, large companies that are using them for new insights in the financial services sector. Often you won't even know you're experiencing Watson because Watson will be powering the applications as you're working online with many, many retailers.
So you're also trying to grow the number of developers using Watson?
Yes.
How many developers are using Watson and how fast is that number growing?
So today we have hundreds of partners, thousands of developers on the platform. We have several dozen APIs that developers can now get on and call services up. That number will grow to hundreds in the next year or so.
Okay. And what are you doing to attract more developers to the platform?
Well, first of all, we make it free for developers to come onto the platform as they develop their product and solutions. As they get to market, we share the value that's been created, but the on-ramp is very, very easy.
So, you know, are these expansions part of a new investment in the Watson Group, or is this part of the $1 billion that you committed to Watson last year?
This is part of the $1 billion. We have been saving it for moving into this area, and we're thrilled to be here.
So if that's the case, how much have you spent on Watson so far?
We have spent a substantial amount of money since the beginning of this program. And obviously the system is progressing fabulously. The business is growing exponentially. Remember, Watson is part of our $17 billion analytics business, and it's the fastest growing portion of that business.
So, as you say, this is a big investment for you guys, and this is a big bet for you on Watson's future and also the future of IBM. When do you see it as a big driver of the business? When is this really incremental to IBM?
So it's already incremental. It's growing very, very rapidly. It's in our fastest growing segments, and as we form Watson Health and we look at applying Watson to other areas like IoT and education, we'll grow those businesses as well.
So when you say incremental, what does incremental mean to you?
Incremental means it's above our base business, which are core existing businesses.
Okay.
All new, all new. Remember, this is a whole new generation, a whole new era of computing. We still have many, many programmable systems from the second era of computing, but this is a whole new era. All incremental.
So do you see it getting to $1 billion in sales? And if so, when?
Yes, as soon as possible.
Okay. I'm asking these questions because there's still a lot of question about the financials behind Watson and how it works as a real driver of the business. When do you see Watson becoming profitable?
So Watson, again, is a heavy, heavy investment for us right now. If you look at the performance of Watson, whether it's developers, platforms, new ecosystem capability, it's surpassing anything that we've seen before, not only in our business, but any other as-a-service business. So the growth is exponential, and with these new businesses and these new locations, we think that this will be a huge engine for IBM going forward.
So when you say it could get to $1 billion in sales as soon as possible, are you saying in the near term, or is this like 5-10 years out?
Near term.
Okay. So within 1 year, 2 years, 3 years?
As soon as possible, it will be very material to IBM.
Awesome. You said you want your strategic imperatives to hit 40% by 2018.
Mm-hmm.
How much of a role does Watson play in that goal?
Yeah, again, Watson is a part of our analytics business, and it's the fastest growing piece, so it's going to be very, very material in that 40%.
Okay. Now, you recently did the Alchemy acquisition. What else does it take to get there? Are we going to see you doing more acquisitions?
Right. So our business model is to do a combination of organic investment. We invest $6 billion a year in R&D. We'll continue to do that. But also looking for technologies that might enhance Watson going forward. And then, of course, we're investing heavily, heavily in partnerships and the ecosystem.
You're also investing in startups. Is the goal there to potentially buy those startups if you see value there?
Well, of course, we would always consider it, but right now we have a $100 million investment fund into startups. We've invested some portion of that. We continue to look, and hopefully we'll find some new candidates out here that we can invest in. We hope they grow. I think probably there'll be 1 or 2 orders of magnitude more innovation on this platform than we, IBM, can possibly do ourselves. One great example is, while we're working deeply in healthcare with places like Memorial Sloan Kettering on cancer, one of our startups is in the area of veterinary medicine. They're applying it to save animal lives and provide better care for our pets, something that IBM would never get into, but again, it shows the power of an ecosystem.
So, one of the great things about Watson is it sounds so compelling, but I think a lot of us have trouble seeing the role of cognitive computing in our own lives. We understand how Watson can answer questions on Jeopardy,
right,
but it's difficult to imagine a future beyond that. How do you see cognitive computing in our daily lives?
I think it's going to be everywhere, Emily. I did earlier this week a demonstration, again at TechCrunch, of how Watson can have a complete dialogue and reason over all of Wikipedia or any medical records and give us insights into all that information that would take us basically forever to get to.
So give me an example.
So a great example, I know I'm doing a lot of healthcare examples, but picture in healthcare a tumor, a cancer board getting together to decide for a cancer patient what is the chemotherapy that will be administered to that patient. And the doctors get together and they form an opinion, and they will then choose which cocktail to administer. But think about having a cognitive Watson system sitting at that table, at that cancer board, saying, well, that's a good idea, but maybe you ought to consider this, or yes, you can do that, but did you know there's a side effect relating to such and such for that particular patient?
So give me a non-healthcare example. You mentioned Wikipedia. How can I, as a consumer, how might Watson change my life?
Right, so shopping. It's going to learn your preferences. It's going to learn preferences about people like you. It's going to give you better insights as you're doing your daily shopping for products and things. It will help retailers get better insights into people and their behaviors and what they're doing and what they like and don't like, so that we can have a much more cognitive experience, even in something as simple as shopping.
So, healthcare, shopping, what are the areas that you see most ripe for transformation?
Yeah, I think healthcare for sure. We're looking very closely at education, because education is really going through another change towards adaptive learning. Every individual learns differently, and we think that probably in the future Watson could play a key role in educating us all the way from very early childhood through continuing education, because it will learn how we learn and then help us learn better.
So IBM's business is in transformation, right?
Yes.
And even you guys have admitted this. Do you feel a sense of urgency now around Watson because of that backdrop?
Absolutely. I have many years with IBM, and we've been through many transformations, and we're going through another one. It's healthy. It's healthy to go through a transformation. The field is littered with tech companies that haven't transformed. We've done it many times. And with Watson, we have something very unique. And it's not just a piece of technology, it's a whole new era of computing, which is going to lead to innovation and transformation of industries for decades to come. So we feel the urgency not only to turn around the business of IBM and help the business of IBM, but help our clients transform their industries. What could be more important than transforming healthcare or education or the way we live our lives?
So as I understand it, and I know Watson is very close to your heart, it's really important to you on a personal level, given your many years at IBM, how excited are you about this? Like, how does Watson compare to everything else you've worked on at this company?
This is incredible, Emily. I mean, I've worked on the smallest semiconductors, the largest supercomputers, the fastest machines, and they were all fantastic. But I've never seen anything in my career like Watson. Think about a system that can sit and stand by us and reason with us and help us make better decisions. Watson won't be parked in a glasshouse computer room or even confined to a mobile device. It's going to be everywhere in our lives going forward.
How important is it to Ginny Rometty, and what's it been like for you working with Miss Rometty?
It's been, as you know, fantastic. This is one of our big bets, one of our strategic initiatives, and she has been hugely supportive of Watson, particularly, again, not just to what it means to IBM, but what it means for our clients and the world. We're going to transform the world with Watson.